Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 24 Midnight News Bulletin. I'm your host, Miriam Zian, and here are your top stories. Algeria and Mozambique signed several cooperation agreements. President Tebboune confirms the convergence of views between the two countries on regional and international issues, most notably the Palestinian and Sahrawi issues, and agrees to activate cooperation mechanisms to achieve common goals. President Filipe Nyusi stresses his country's will to enhance cooperation with Algeria. Also coming up, the first meetings of the 7th Summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum kicked off today, with experts presenting the draft of the Algiers Declaration for the ministers' approval. And more than 100 martyrs died in a horrific massacre committed by the Zionist occupation army against citizens who were waiting to receive aid south of west of Gaza City. At the outset, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chaired Thursday with his counterpart of the Republic of Mozambique, Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, the signing ceremony of several bilateral cooperation agreements. The cooperation agreements signed at the Presidency of the Republic are on plant protection, plant quarantine and animal health, in addition to the sector of energy and the mutual visa exemption for holders of diplomatic or service passports. A joint communiqué was also signed on the occasion of the working and friendship visit the Mozambican president is paying to Algeria. The president of Algeria, Abdelmajid Tebboune, affirmed in a statement following the talks that he and his counterpart Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, president of Mozambique, had similar point of views concerning the Palestinian and Sahrawi issues.
فقد اغتنمنا أنا وأخي الرئيس هذه الفرصة لتبادل وجهات النظر حول عديد المستجدات دوليا وقاريا، خاصة الوضع في منطقة الساحل ومنطقة البحيرات الكبرى، كما تطرقنا إلى التطورات الخطيرة التي تعرفها منطقة الشرق الأوسط والمجازر اليومية التي يرتكبها الكيان الصهيوني ضد المدنيين الفلسطينيين العزل في قطاع غزة وفي الضفة. وفي هذا السياق جددنا دعمنا المطلق لتكريس حق الشعب الفلسطيني الشقيق في إقامة دولته المستقلة على حدود الرابع من جوان 1967 وعاصمتها القدس الشريف. وفيما يخص قضية الصحراء الغربية آخر مستعمرة في إفريقيا، أكدنا على أهمية إيجاد حل عادل ودائم يكفل للشعب الصحراوي ممارسة حقه المشروع في تقرير المصير. وما دمنا دولتين موزمبيق والجزائر عضوين غير دائمين في مجلس الأمن، فلنا تطابق تام في الرؤى فيما يخص هذه القضايا، وبالأخص القضية الفلسطينية وقضية الصحراء الغربية.
Furthermore, the president of Algeria stated that in order to accomplish shared objectives, the two parties decided to convene cooperation mechanisms, the first of which was to convene a quick meeting of the Joint Bilateral Committee for its 6th session. Let's take a listen.
لقد بحثت مع أخي فخامة الرئيس نيوسي السبل الكفيلة لتعزيز التعاون وتوسيعه في مجالات الطاقة والفلاحة والسياحة والبنى التحتية والصناعة الصيدلانية والصناعات الغذائية والتعليم العالي والبحث العلمي والتكوين المهني والصيد البحري والتعاون العسكري كذلك. وما نوليه معا من أهمية لتوزيع الصادرات وتدفق الاستثمارات المباشرة وترقية المبادلات التجارية. اتفقنا على تفعيل آليات التعاون المتاحة لتحقيق أهدافنا المشتركة، بدءاً بعقد الدورة السادسة للجنة الثنائية المشتركة في أقرب الأجال.
The Algerian President, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, also reiterated Algeria's solidarity with the Republic of Mozambique in the face of terrorism and violent extremism and its willingness to share its experience in this field.
ومن جهة أخرى جددت لأخي فخامة الرئيس نيوسي وقوف الجزائر وتضامنها مع جمهورية موزمبيق في مواجهة الإرهاب ومحاربة التطرف العنيف، معرباً له عن استعداد الجزائر لتقاسم تجربتها وخبرتها في هذا المجال.
Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune highlighted that the friendship and working visit undertaken by the President of the Republic of Mozambique to Algeria reflects the depth of the historical ties of brotherhood and solidarity that unite the two countries. Let's take a listen.
زيارة الصداقة والعمل إلى الجزائر قبيل مشاركتكم في أشغال القمة السابعة لمنتدى الدول المصدرة للغاز، وهي تعكس عمق روابط الأخوة والتضامن التاريخية التي تجمع الجزائر وموزمبيق، وتبرز حرصنا المشترك على إضفاء الديناميكية المنشودة على العلاقات الثنائية العريقة والمتميزة والتي بنيت على أيام النضال المشترك.
For his part, the Mozambican president stressed that Algeria and Mozambique are seeking to develop their relations and enhance cooperation in various fields based on the agreement signed between the two countries in 1985. Here's Filippo Gnassi.
The last official state visit of Mozambique to Algeria was made in 1985 by late Samora Machel, President of the Republic of Mozambique. I seized this press conference to convey the greetings of the Mozambican people to their Algerian counterparts, wishing them peace and prosperity. Cooperation between the two countries started with agreements that were signed between the two governments in 1985 during the visit of President Samora Machel, and we are here to develop relations and strengthen cooperation in several fields that will serve the future generations.
Les potentialités sont immenses dans le domaine de l'agriculture, tourisme.
On Thursday, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune received his Mozambican counterpart, Filipe Gnassi, at the Algerian Presidential Palace. The President of the Republic of Mozambique arrived in Algeria on Wednesday evening as part of his friendship and working visit at the invitation of President Abdelmajid Tebboune. This visit, which falls within the framework of strengthening historical ties and brotherhood and solidarity that unite Algeria and Mozambique, comes on the eve of President Felipe Jacinto Gnossi's participation in the 7th Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, which Algeria is hosting this week. Following the reception, Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune held private talks with his counterpart from the Republic of Mozambique, who is on a friendship and working visit to Algeria. And now we move to gas exporting countries' forum meetings after this little break. The first meeting of the 7th Summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum kicked off on Thursday at the International Conference Center in Algiers. The specialized high-level working group held its meeting to prepare the draft of Algiers, which will be submitted to the ministerial meeting on Friday before being presented for approval by the heads of state and government of the forum, which will be held under the chairmanship of Algerian President Abdelmajid Tebboune next Saturday. During the extraordinary ministerial meeting of the Forum, energy ministers will discuss the final version of the declaration and related decisions. More details about the meetings of the first day of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum, which is being held in the International Conference Center Abdelatif Rahel with Zahra Farjani.
The preparatory phase of the 7th Gas Exporting Countries Forum GECF in Algeria kicked off with a high-level working group meeting, bringing together experts from member states to engage in thorough discussions. The main focus was drafting the Algeria Declaration, a document with undisclosed content expected to shape the future of gas use in response to market demands, climate change, and rising geopolitical tensions.
We hope that this conference will achieve economically satisfactory results in Iraq and the world through the growth of gas production. I hope that this conference will achieve satisfactory results.
Amidst major and escalating challenges, the participating member states aspire to navigate all the hurdles and challenges harmoniously and effectively. The imperative lies in leveraging their resources while preserving the autonomy of economic and political decision-making.
I congratulate Algeria and its president for the organization of this event. As far as we are concerned, it is a very important summit for the exchange of experiences within this forum of gas exporting countries. I would like to announce the arrival this evening of the Minister of Hydrocarbons, Franklin Molina Ortiz, and the day after tomorrow, that of the President and the Head of Diplomacy. This meeting is very important, and we wish success to this meeting.
As global challenges mount, the ambitious goals of the member states necessitate a collective and efficient response. The summit promises to be a landmark event, and all eyes are focused on the Algiers Declaration. This document, once revealed, is anticipated to be a game-changer for the global gas industry. With over 70% of the world's proven gas reserves and half of global supplies represented, the declaration is poised to chart a new course for the future of blue fuel on a consultative platform.
The Algerian Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, received the Deputy Prime Minister for Energy Affairs and the Minister of Oil of the Iraqi Republic, Hayyan Abdul Ghani. In addition, Arqab hosted the Ministers of Energy from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Stuart Young, and Mozambique, Carlos Zacarias, at the VIP lounge at the Houari Boumediene International Airport in Algiers. And these visits were part of their participation in the 7th Gas Exporting Countries Forum Summit, which is being held in Algiers. The CEO of the Algerian Sonatrach company, Rachid Hashishi, said that gas is expected to play a major role in the transition to other types of energies by 2050. Hashishi pointed out in an interview with the Algerian news agency APS that all international companies' forecasts agree on increasing global gas consumption by 1 to 2% annually, which will raise global gas consumption to 5,000 billion cubic meters by 2050. Rachid Hashishi stressed that Sonatrach is likely to explore new emerging markets where demand for natural gas is increasing. And for more details, we're joined tonight by Mr. Hisham Gharbi, a university professor and expert in international financial markets. Good evening, Mr. Gharbi. Can you hear me? Good evening. Mr. Gharbi, are you here with us? It looks like we're not yet joined by Mr. Gharbi. We're going to try to join him later on during our news bulletin. And we carry on with our news. On Thursday, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arqab, accompanied by the Secretary General of the gas exporting countries, Mohamed Hamel, supervised the inauguration of the Gas Research Institute of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum. The opening of this significant facility for the forum's member comes with a significant change in the natural gas market's demand for this clean, vital energy source. In this regard, this institute aims to create a framework for scientific cooperation as well as to increase technological cooperation between forum member states. Our news program continues after this break with the Palestinian file. Stay here. In a new heartbreaking massacre, Palestinian health authorities in Gaza said on Thursday that the occupation fire on people waiting for aid near Gaza City had killed over 100 people and wounded many others. The deadly incident sparked international condemnation, with the UN Security Council or the UN Secretary General calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. Nabil Khazini.
Hunger brought them here to collect some of the scarce food aid brought in. Many of them hadn't eaten for days. But what they received wasn't nutrition, but rather occupation bullets that turned the scene into an open-air massacre. Over 100 were killed, many others were wounded. Not far from the crime scene, inside Jabalia Hospital, chaos unfolded, and the thousands of hungry Palestinians who headed to the aid distribution points had no idea that they would meet an ominous fate as such.
This is my brother who went to bring food for his children. This one was injured while trying to get a living. These individuals were not injured in war. Rather, they were harmed while trying to provide for their families.
The last attack sparked international condemnation. While the United States asked the occupation for a response, the UN chief condemned the occupation forces for opening fire on starving Palestinians waiting for humanitarian aid in the south of Gaza City.
The Secretary General condemns the incident today in northern Gaza, in which more than 100 people were reportedly killed or injured while seeking life-saving aid. The desperate civilians in Gaza need urgent help, including those in the besieged northern part of Gaza, where the United Nations has not been able to deliver aid for more than a week.
In the meantime, mediators say a truce deal in Gaza would be just days away. Aid agencies have sounded the alarm of a looming famine in the Gaza Strip.
The Palestinian Ministry of Health in the Gaza Strip confirmed that the occupation committed systematic killings against tens of thousands of Palestinians through both targeting and starvation. Ministry of Health spokesperson Ashraf al-Qudra said on Thursday that the Nablus roundabout massacre, which claimed the lives of dozens of martyrs, constitutes a new development in the series of genocide, adding that the medical teams at Al-Shifa Medical Complex are unable to deal with the size and types of injuries. Member of the Political Bureau of the Palestinian Resistance Movement Hamas, Izzat al-Rishq, said that the movement assures the U.S. administration, in particular, and the mediators, that the negotiations are not an open process. And the movement will not allow the negotiations to be a cover for the occupation's continued crimes against the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Al-Rishq stressed in a press statement that the massacre of starvation committed by occupation army against Palestinian citizens who were waiting to receive relief aid is an unprecedented, brutal, and heinous crime in the history of war crimes. And in the same context, Algeria has called for an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council on recent developments in the Gaza Strip and following the Israeli attack on Palestinians who were awaiting humanitarian aid south of Gaza City early on Thursday. Israeli forces opened fire on Palestinians, killing more than 100 people and injuring hundreds of others. So the UN Security Council has closed a meeting at the request of Algeria this evening to deliberate on the fatal incident in Gaza that left more than 100 of individuals dead. Riyad Mansour said that this tragedy is a result of the UN Security Council's paralysis. Let's take a listen.
112 have been killed, and the number is increasing, and 750 injured, and possibly the number would be increasing. This outrageous, massacre is a testimony to the fact that as long as the Security Council is paralyzed and vetoes casted, then it is costing the Palestinian people their lives.
We go back now to GCF News, and we're going to try to reach Hamid Gharbi, University professor and expert in international financial markets. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Gharbi.
Thank you.
Thank you. As a first question, I'd like to ask you, this summit is considered not only an important platform with valuable gas data, but also a link between organizers and participants from all over the world. In what ways, Mr. Gharbi, do you think this summit will help close the divide between the different stakeholders?
Okay, firstly, I would like to say that this summit has succeeded on its first day before its end, on March the 2nd. Why? Because gas prices in global markets rose from last Sunday until now, 18%, from 1.60 million BTU to 1.88 million BTU. Million BTU, it means million British thermal unit. And that itself, it means a success for Algeria. And returning to your question, the Gas Exporting Countries Forum Summit in Algeria serves as a crucial connection for various stakeholders in a global gas industry. And I think it could help bridge the gap between different stakeholders by exchanging knowledge. Summit provides a platform for experts, policy makers, and industry leaders from different countries. As we have seen today, I followed very well this summit today. Everyone was happy to share knowledge, experiences, and best practices in gas production, distribution, and utilization. This exchange of information can help the stakeholders. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you very much. As the last question, since we don't have much time, as you know, there is a global growing demand for gas supplies. And according to the International Energy Agency, or the Energy Agency, global gas demand is set to grow by 2.5% year on year, starting from the current year, 2024. Do you think that gas exporting and producing countries will participate in increasing production and supplying more gas?
Okay, so we can say yes. We can say yes. It's highly likely that gas exporting and producing countries will seek to increase their production capacity to meet the growing global demand for gas. So we can notice an increase in natural gas prices with this increase in demand, especially the spot markets, because they are affected on a daily basis by demand and supply. In this side, the natural gas markets become similar in the oil markets and different from long-term contracts. This what distinguishes the natural gas market. Its contracts are long-term between exporting and consuming countries. And if they increase their production, they can have an economic incentive. So increased demand for gas.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hamid Gharbi, sorry for cutting you off. We're running out of time, but thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for our program for tonight. Thank you for tuning in and have a good night.